Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah. In this video, I'm showing you a super quick and simple way to get your layered cardstock Cricut creations to stand up or go on the wall without any frames needed. And you can do this using your scraps of cardstock, and they're really easy to make. Previously, a couple of years ago, I had released these easel stand designs for displaying your layered designs, which work really well. Let's just have a little example. So that would go over there. And then you can put your designs in and it stands against the back so you can stand it up really well. But they do still become visible at the front of the design where you've got the little hooks. What if you want to make it completely invisible? Well, this was an idea that I had from one of my email subscribers who messaged me and asked if I could create a little tab similar to what you get on the back of a photo frame for hanging it on the wall. And once I started looking at the backs of some photo frames, I came up with two different ways to kind of follow that same concept. The first is the hooks, which was what my subscriber requested. So you can simply cut these out. They're very, very small. Stick them on the back of your layered design and then put them on a hook in the wall or a pin or anything else that you've got there. You can just slot it right through and then that will hang perfectly on your wall without the need for a frame. Or the second is taking the idea of the back of a photo frame stand and attaching that to the back of the designs. So again, they will stand up just perfectly without a frame. So I've created some free SVGs for both the backs, the stands, and also the hooks. You can find the link to that in the description of this video. But for now, let's have a little look at them in Design Space and see how to make them and what materials are best for cutting them out to ensure that they hold your layered designs perfectly every time. You can download the free cutting file for this project at craftwithsarah.com/free-SVGs or follow the link in the description of this video to go straight to the download page. The download comes in a zip folder and you need to unzip this before you can upload the files into Cricut Design Space. Here's what the stand and the hook looks like when they're loaded into Cricut Design Space. If you're not sure how to upload SVGs to get to this point, check out the description of this video for a separate tutorial on how to upload SVGs into Cricut Design Space. They do come in separately, so you will need to load in two designs. You've got one for the stands, and that's what looks like this, and then one for the hooks. The reason that there are multiple versions of each of the images is so that even if you cut this from fairly thin card, you can still make this work and be stable and sturdy enough to hold your layered designs by gluing the pieces together. Gluing 4 bits on top of each other gives you something which is really, really secure, and it's going to work much better than just having one little bit of card on its own. There are a few things we need to do before these are ready to cut, and we'll start with the stands. Ungroup the design by pressing the Ungroup button at the top of the Layers panel. And then you can see you've got two shapes which are taller than the others, and it looks like they have a horizontal line across the top. We need to change that into a score line. Click the little arrow next to the miniature group which has appeared, which contains both those horizontal lines and the stand underneath. Make sure you've got the horizontal line layer selected, then under Operation, change it to Score. Drag a box around both of those two bits and press Attach. Attach is what tells the Cricut where to do that score line. And then I'll do the same thing on the other one. So open it up, click that horizontal line, change it to Score, drag a box around both of those and attach. And that's all you need to do. This will load in at a suitable size for most of the layered designs that I create, but you can resize it. The easiest way to resize is to select all 4 of these pieces and then press Align and Center to put them all one on top of each other, and then Align Bottom. Then you can make them whatever size you want. For example, if you've got a design that's quite kind of short but wide, something like that might work a bit better to give you more surface room along the bottom. If your design is particularly thin, Let's just select all those again. You might want to make it thinner, but maybe a little bit taller. So you can completely customize this depending on the design that you want to put them behind. You could even perhaps do 2 if you were making something that had maybe 2 bits that go down. So you didn't want one stand in the middle because you'd be able to see it. If your design maybe a dog with legs at the front and the back, you could make 2 thin stands to go behind them and try that out and see if that works better. But I'll be doing mine exactly as it comes, so I'll just undo this to put it back. I'll cut my hooks out at the same time. We need to do similar formatting for this. So I'm going to ungroup it, and then all 4 of these are exactly the same. So you can be a little bit sneaky and delete 3 of them, and then on the one that's left, open it up and click that horizontal line, change it to a score line, drag a box around both of those and press attach, and then just press the duplicate button at the top of the layers panel 3 times, and then we've got the 4 that we need, but we only had to do that attaching once. Again, if you want to resize these, select them all, press align, center, and then you can make them wider, you can make it bigger, whatever you want to do. But again, I'll do mine at the size it comes in on. All right, that's all I need to change. So I will click make, and then that will do all of the little bits here. This is great for using up your scraps of cards. You can move things about if you want to. And you can use these from regular cardstock, the type of card that you would use to make your layered designs. However, it will work better if you use craft board. Craft board is a type of Cricut material which is a bit more like cardboard than cardstock. It's thicker, it's sturdier, it doesn't bend as easily, and it can hold more weight. So if you have craft board in your craft supplies, and that's craft spelled with a K, then use that. It will work out so much better. But if you only have regular cardstock, it will still be fine. So you can absolutely do that too. I'm going to cut this twice, once from craft board and once from regular cardstock, so that I can show you the difference. There is a specific Cricut cut setting if you are using the craft board. So click into the browse all materials and then type out craft with a K, and it will come up. All right, so I'm going to get these cut, and then we'll see how to put it together and how to mount them on the back of the layered designs. I've cut out both the cardstock and the craft board versions of my stands and my hooks. This is the craft board that I've used, so it's Cricut brand craft board. It comes in lots of different colours. If you've bought any of the Cricut mystery boxes in the past, you might find that you've got some because they put it in there quite a lot. Sometimes it's kind of metallic or silvery. This one's kind of all matte effect colours. And let's have a little go at putting these together. I'll start with the stands. I'll stick together both versions. This one I've done from just regular, ordinary cardstock, just what I would use to actually make the layered designs, and this one is the craft board, so it is thicker. That'll be a bit more obvious to show you when it's all stuck together. So we've got the 2 pieces that have the score line on, and then the 2 smaller pieces. It's up to you how many of these bits you use. It depends on the thickness. I think you can probably get away with using all 4 of them though, even on the craft board. It will just give you a sturdier stand. Okay, so I'm going to take the 2 bits with the score line along the top, fold that away from me, and the other one too. Oops, dropped it. There. And then it really is just as simple as gluing them together. So make sure you don't actually glue the score line itself, but glue everywhere else. And then put that on top. And they fit perfectly. And then for the other 2 pieces, it's up to you if you put them on the outside or on the inside. The inside does look a little bit neater, but it will make it a bit harder to fold this little bit over. This is the bit that will get stuck to the back of the layered design, like that. So really up to you which way to do it, it's fine. But I think I'll do mine on the outside. So the other two pieces just go up to that score line. You don't have to cut it all from the same colour either. If you've got some scraps that you've been hanging on to but not sure what to do with them, then you could use them to make your stands or your hooks, because no one will see it when it's all stuck together, so it doesn't matter what colour it is. There we go. So there's that one. Let's leave that to dry and do the craftboard one as well. Exactly the same. Fold those tabs away from you. And then glue all 4 pieces together. Okay, so that's my craftboard one stuck together, and now if I turn them on the side, put them next to each other, hopefully you can see the difference. In width, the craftboard one is about double the width of my regular cardstock one, so it's much sturdier. This feels like you can hardly bend it, whereas this one is still quite bendy. But they both should still work absolutely fine on my layered designs. And to use them, all you need to do is take your design. I'm using this one, which is one of the ones from my shop. It's also available in Craft Clubhouse if you are a member of that. And then you can either glue it or double-sided tape. If you think you might want to remove it in the future, double-sided tape can be a little bit easier, as that's a little bit easier to take off at a later time. Or you could even use some foam squares. Here's my double-sided tape runner. And I'm going to go down the tab. And then line this up. I'm not quite sure if that will be the ideal position or if I want to hang it over a little bit more. But that's lined up with the bottom at the moment, and let's give it a try. Perfect! So even with the regular cardstock one, which is a little bit weaker, that is going to stand up. You'll probably find that you need to put it in quite close. If you were trying to stand it like that, let's give that a go. I don't think that's going to hold it. If I let go now, you see it just falls. But as long as the stand is in close, it will hold it. Like that. And then we can try that one too. And peel this one off. Okay. And we'll see how this one holds up as well. Ooh, it would help if I took the lid off of my tape runner. Okay. So I'll put it on exactly the same way. Line it up in the middle. There we go. And then that one stands up there beautifully. It does feel much more sturdy, like it's not going to go anywhere. And I'm thinking, yeah, I can open that one up a lot more. So that time I opened it up all that way and it still holds it. So you've got more flexibility with the craftboard one over the cardstock one. So that's that first way of holding things up. Now we'll go on to the hooks. And it's exactly the same. We're just gluing these one on top of the other. These all have score lines on them. So let's fold it first. It's a little tricky. There's not a lot of space to go with. Right, there's all of those folded, and then we can glue them one on top of the other. I have done the 4 in my craft board, but I'm thinking I'll only actually need 2 for the craft board one. These line up exactly on top of each other. There's that one. And then the craft board one, yeah, these are much thicker. I mean, you could maybe even get away with just one of these ones. but we'll go 2 just to play it safe. Right, there's those. I've got another layered design here. Again, this one is from my shop. It's also available in Craft Clubhouse. Let's turn that round and then choose where you want your hanger to go. If you're doing a large design or you've got multiple nails that you're hanging this onto, then you might want to put 2. If that's the case, make sure you measure them to make sure you've got a straight line, otherwise it won't hang straight. But for just 1, you can put either a bit of glue or some of your tape onto that tab, and then the tab will go onto the design. And I'm going to wait for that to dry before I do anything else. But then you can just sort of bend it along that score line a bit to flatten it out. And then that will go over the hook that you've got in the wall. So you can just hook it straight onto the wall without needing anything else. Nice and easy way to display the layered designs. I hope you enjoyed this video on a super quick and easy way to display layered cardstock Cricut creations without needing to buy a frame. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts, including a whole bunch of free layered SVGs, very similar to these, that you can use with your hooks and your stands. And of course, check the description of the video if you would prefer to make these kind of easel stands too, as I've got the free designs for those ready and waiting for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!